Have you ever felt it? That icy, almost intangible shift in the air that can't be measured, yet you feel it in every cell of your body. Just yesterday, he looked at you as if you were the only thing that mattered in this chaotic, indifferent world. His eyes burned. They were filled with admiration, interest, and almost sacred reverence. He yearned for your presence, like a weary traveler seeks an oasis. He absorbed your every word, your every move, your every smile. He was drawn to you like a fire in an endless cold night. And today, an invisible yet absolutely real chasm has opened up between you. His gaze now slides past you, never lingering, as if you've become part of the furniture. His answers have grown short, his touch mechanical, his presence an empty formality. The fire that burned so brightly, that warmed you, has gone out. All that's left is ash and the acrid smoke of bewilderment. And the most agonizing, the most unbearable part of it all is you don't understand why. You begin an agonizing inner interrogation. You replay the last few days, the last few weeks in your mind, every meeting, every conversation, every text, message. You didn't do anything terrible, nothing irreparable. There were no screams, no accusations, no cheating, no betrayal. On the contrary, you tried. You were kind, attentive, caring, and open. You did exactly what you were taught to do by books, movies, and public opinion. You gave, you loved, you supported, you were there. And this is the result: a dead wall, a deafening silence, and a ringing emptiness where just yesterday a living, pulsating passion thrived. You start to blame yourself, to frantically search for flaws, cracks, and shortcomings within you. You sink into the viscous swamp of despair, doubt, and a deep, wounding bewilderment. You feel like something is wrong with you. But what if I told you that the reason isn't that you did something bad? What if the reason lies in something you did that was innocent? Something that is considered a virtue in our world, the highest expression of love and feminine care, but which, on a deep, invisible, archetypal level, is a deadly poison to masculine attraction. What if there are unwritten laws of attraction that do not obey our simple, everyday logic of good and bad? Laws that operate on the level of the soul, on the level of the unconscious. Carl Jung, the great explorer of the ocean of the human soul, taught us that a man rarely falls in love with a real earthly woman. In the beginning, during that intoxicating, magical period, he falls in love with the projection of his own soul, his inner missing part, which Jung called the anima. He doesn't see you with all your complexities and contradictions. He sees in you a shining reflection of his dream, his mystery, his eternal longing. He projects onto you the image of a goddess, a muse, a witch, a princess, the entire pantheon of female figures that his unconscious craves. And that initial, overwhelming, almost insane interest, that breathtaking infatuation, it is the energy of his own projection. He is not enchanted by you. He is enchanted by the magical, luminous image that his soul has cast upon you, as if you were a screen. This is precisely why he loses interest. Not because you are bad or not good enough, but because something in your behavior, something completely innocent, something done with the best of intentions, shatters this fragile, shimmering projection, like a butterfly's wing. It's as if he wakes up from a beautiful, magical dream and sees before him not a goddess descended from the heavens, but just a person. And he doesn't know what to do with that. The magic is gone. The spark has died. The mystery is solved, and he becomes uninterested. We are not going to talk about games, manipulations, or cheap tricks here. We will dive into the very essence, into the unsettling, uncomfortable truth of male psychology and the dynamics of attraction. We will talk about those innocent patterns of behavior that a woman engages in out of a heart overflowing with love. but which are guaranteed to mercilessly kill his interest, even if he was head over heels in love. Understanding this isn't about changing for him or starting to pretend. No, it's about reclaiming your true power. It's about understanding the invisible currents that govern the ocean of attraction and ceasing to unconsciously sink the ship of your own love. This knowledge might make you uncomfortable. It might seem cynical. It might turn everything you thought you knew about love, intimacy, and relationships upside down. But it is precisely this kind of knowledge that liberates. Because when you understand the rules of the invisible game, you stop being its blind pawn. You begin to see. And if you allow these words to penetrate you, you too will begin to see. Not through his eyes, which are searching for a projection, but through the eyes of your own awakened, whole soul. One of these innocent things, one of the most common and subtle killers of passion, is when you become his emotional mother. It begins so beautifully, so correctly, so nobly. He comes to you tired, disappointed, his gaze dimmed. He complains about an unfair boss, about treacherous colleagues, about the cruelty of the world, about his inner fears and profound doubts. And you, as a loving, devoted woman, what do? You open your arms to him. You listen to him with utmost attention. You empathize with his every pain. You give him what you believe to be wise advice. You start to think about his problems, as if they were your own. You wake up at night to figure out how to help him. You want to protect him, to shield him from all adversity, to heal his old wounds, to fill his inner emptiness with your love. You become his quiet harbor, his lifeboat, his personal psychotherapist, his confessor. You take on what seems to you a sacred role, his savior, and this feels like the highest, purest expression of love. But this is precisely where the cruel, invisible trap lies. A trap that transforms the boiling, fiery cauldron of passion and desire into a warm, cozy, but utterly bland bath of familial care and coddling. Jung would say that at this moment, a catastrophic, fatal shift of archetypes occurs in his unconscious. A man, led by his anima, seeks mystery, otherness, and a challenge in a woman. He seeks a muse who inspires him to heroic deeds simply by existing. He seeks a witch who sees right through him, stirs his blood, and is not afraid of his darkness. He seeks a queen unattainable and majestic, whose favor must be earned. All these archetypes possess a powerful, primal erotic charge because they are separate from him. They represent another world, a different reality that he passionately wants to enter. But when you become his mommy, you, with your own hands, activate a completely different, polar opposite archetype in his unconscious, the archetype of the Great Mother. And the mother archetype, for all its sanctity, importance, and fundamental role in life, is profoundly asexual for an adult man. A mother is the one who feeds, comforts, heals, forgives, understands everything, and accepts everything without reservation. She is the source of unconditional, all-encompassing love and absolute security. But she is not an object of erotic desire. Desire is born from tension, from distance, from mystery, from a slight hunger. Your maternal care, on the contrary, strives to relieve that tension, to reduce the distance to zero, and to explain away any mystery, breaking it down and rationalizing it. You think that by solving his problems, you are becoming closer to him, dearer, more precious. But in reality, you are performing an act of symbolic castration on his interest in you as a woman. You rob him of the vital need to be a man in your presence. He no longer needs to be strong because you are strong for the both of you. He doesn't need to fight dragons and win because you have already arrived with a fire extinguisher, put everything out, and organized it neatly. He comes to you not as a man to a woman, but as a tired, confused boy comes to his mother for comfort, approval, and a recharge. He gets comfort from you, absolutely. But he pays for that comfort with his attraction. Look at it from his side, from the side of his unconscious, which speaks the language of symbols. He comes to your home, and you greet him not with the gaze of a desired woman, but with the look of a caring mother. Have you eaten? Are you dressed warmly? Why do you look so tired? Tell me everything, I'll help you. You pat his head while he complains. You call to remind him of an important meeting he might have forgotten. You take responsibility for his emotional state, for his mood, for his success. And gradually, imperceptibly to you both, the sacred and thrilling dynamic of man-woman is replaced by the mundane and predictable dynamic of mother-son. He begins to see you not as an exciting, unpredictable, alluring woman, but as a reliable, safe, but utterly magicless utility. You become a part of his daily life, like a comfortable armchair or a warm blanket. But does anyone passionately desire an armchair? Does anyone dream at night about a blanket? No, they are valued. They are familiar. Life is uncomfortable without them, but they are not desired. The most painful, most tragic part of this is that you do it out of an immense, sincere love. You give your precious energy, your time, your soul, to make him feel good, to lighten his load. And in return, you receive an icy coldness and distance. Because male nature, his deep psyche, is structured paradoxically. He is not attracted to what is easy and available. He is not attracted to what tries to fix or save him. He is attracted to that which exists in a way, on its own, in its own separate and shining universe. A woman who has her own life, her own passions, her own mysteries, her own unbreakable boundaries. A woman who can listen to him, but does not dive headfirst into his problems, does not drown in them with him. She sympathizes, but she does not rescue. She doesn't say, "Let me do that for you." She says, "I believe in you. You've got this." And that look, full of faith rather than pity, acts on his masculine essence like an elixir. She maintains a sacred distance, not a cold and aloof one, but a healthy one, full of respect for his path and for her own. This distance is the space in which desire is born and lives. It is the air that passion breathes. When you fill this space with your suffocating overcare, you strangle desire in its cradle. You become family to him, close, necessary. But you cease to be desirable. And when he meets another woman who doesn't try to save him, but simply looks at him with a light, mysterious smile, who lives her own vibrant, full life and doesn't try to be the center of his universe, his anima projection instantly, like a lightning bolt, leaps onto her. Because she once again gives him what he truly craves: mystery, a challenge, a separate world he wants to explore. To stop being his mother does not mean becoming selfish or callous. It means performing an act of the highest respect, to give him back the responsibility for his own life, and to reclaim for yourself your feminine magic, to respect him enough to believe in his ability to solve his own problems, and to respect yourself enough not to turn your precious life into an endless service of his weaknesses and fears. When you stop saving him, you give him a chance to be a man again in your presence, and you give yourself a chance to once again be that one and only desired woman for him. This innocent, noble desire to help is the first and most common killer of passion. Realize this, and you will take the first step toward reclaiming your true magnetic power. And there is another path, another trail, no less innocent and beautiful on the surface, that leads to the same abyss of oblivion. It begins as the most beautiful love story, a fairy tale come to life. Upon meeting him, you feel you have finally found your other half, the missing piece of your soul. His world seems so bright, so deep, so right. And with joy, with ecstasy, you begin to immerse yourself in it. You listen to his music, and it becomes the soundtrack of your life. You watch his favorite movies, and his heroes become your heroes. You read the books he recommends, and his thoughts become your thoughts. His friends become your best friends. His goals and dreams become your primary goals. You easily cancel a long-planned meeting with your friends because he spontaneously suggested spending the evening together. You abandon your hobby, which once brought you so much joy, because all your free time, all your resources are now dedicated to him. You stop having your own opinion on many issues because his opinion seems more significant, more authoritative. You become his perfect reflection, his obedient echo, and this seems so romantic, so right. You think that this is what true, real love is: a complete merger, a unity of souls, a renunciation of the selfish I for the sake of the sacred we. You gladly sacrifice yourself on the altar of love. And this is the second innocent thing that kills his interest with surgical precision and ruthlessness. Why? Let us again turn to the invisible mechanics of the soul. The anima, as we remember, is a projection onto something. For a projection to hold, to shine and shimmer, it needs a screen, but not just a blank white screen. It needs a screen with its own unique texture, its own inner light and deep shadows. A man is unconsciously, instinctively drawn to a woman who is other to him. She is a separate, sovereign universe, with her own laws of gravity, with her own planets inhabited by strange and wonderful creatures, with her own mysteries that beckon and call. It is this very separateness, this uniqueness, this otherness, that creates the gravitational field that irresistibly pulls him in. He wants to explore this universe, to know it, perhaps even to conquer it. It is a great adventure for his soul. When you completely dissolve into him, you cease to be this separate, alluring universe. You become his faithful satellite, an asteroid obediently orbiting him. With your own hands, you erase your own vibrant colors, so as not to, as you believe, outshine his light. You silence your own unique music to better hear his melody. And in the end, in this noble impulse, you become boring. You are no longer a challenge. You are no longer a mystery. You are a perfectly smooth, flawless mirror in which he sees only himself. And one can look at one's own reflection, but not for long. It's tiring. It's narcissistic. It is devoid of all adventure. Understand this. Cruel but liberating truth. A man does not want to date his clone in a skirt. He might tell you he likes that you have the exact same tastes and views on life. But what turns him on, what keeps the eternal fire of his interest burning, is your difference. The fact that you can surprise him. The fact that you can show him something new he has never seen. The fact that you can disagree with him, forcing his mind to work and his soul to tremble. The fact that you can present him with an intellectual or emotional challenge. The fact that you have your own separate, rich life to which he may not always have access. Your friends, with whom you laugh about something of your own, something he doesn't understand. Your passion, in which you are the expert, and he is just an admiring spectator. Your secret dreams, which are not directly connected to him, which belong only to you. All of this creates your own sovereign world, your own value, which is independent of his approval or presence. And it is this independent, self-sufficient value that makes you a magnet. When he sees that your world will not collapse if he disappears, tomorrow, he paradoxically wants to stay in that world even more. When he feels that you can be perfectly happy without him, he desperately wants to be a part of your happiness. He wants to earn a place in your universe, not be the entirety of it. And what happens when you dissolve? You unconsciously send him a signal that first flatters, then suffocates. Without you, I am nothing. My life has no meaning without you. You are the center of my universe, my sun, my air. At first, this might stroke his ego. He feels like a god, but very soon, it begins to weigh on him. An enormous, unbearable responsibility for your happiness. Your mood, your meaning in life is placed upon his shoulders. He becomes your sole source of joy. And this burden is too heavy for any mortal. He begins to feel trapped. His interest, which was light, playful, and exploratory, turns into a heavy, oppressive sense of duty. And duty is the antithesis of desire. Duty and passion cannot coexist in the same space. Think of the tragic paradox. You give up yourself to keep him. But it was your unique, inimitable self, your separateness, your strangeness, that attracted him in the first place. You, in a desperate attempt to preserve love, destroy its very fuel with your own hands. You give him everything he thought he dreamed of: complete acceptance, a lack of friction, total adoration and fusion. And having received it, he realizes he doesn't need it. He's like a mountain climber who has the mountain delivered to his doorstep, disassembled, and is asked to put it together. The joy is not in possessing the summit, but in the process of the ascent, in the overcoming, in the wind hitting your face. You, by dissolving, deprive him of this ascent. You deprive him of the adventure. To reclaim yourself does not mean to start a war with him or to artificially create conflicts and drama. It means to embark on a sacred journey back to yourself, to remember who you were before him, to remember what lit up your eyes, what made your heart beat faster when he wasn't yet in your life, to return to your friends, to your hobbies, to your favorite books, to start forming your own independent opinion again. It means to create a life so full, vibrant, and interesting for yourself that his presence in it is a wonderful, thrilling addition, not a vital necessity, not an oxygen mask. A woman who values herself, her life, her time automatically becomes priceless in a man's eyes as well. He sees that she is a treasure who has other admirers, and the chief, most important one, is herself. And then the fear of losing her, mixed with admiration for her wholeness, flares up with a new tripled intensity. Because there is nothing more attractive than self-sufficiency. And you, by innocently and lovingly dissolving into him, renounce your self-sufficiency, your wholeness. And he, no matter how deeply in love, eventually leaves. Because you can only love someone. You cannot love the empty space left behind by a person. But the deepest, most insidious, and most subtle of these innocent mistakes lies not in what you do, nor in who you become, but in what you give away. It also begins with innocence, with the noble desire to be completely honest and open. In the modern world, we are told from all sides, be vulnerable, share your feelings, don't hold anything back. That's what creates true intimacy. And you, wanting this intimacy more than anything in the world, follow this advice. You begin to unload the entire dark, wounded, chaotic contents of your unconscious onto him. All your past traumas, all your existential fears, all your deep-seated complexes and insecurities. You tell him in detail how your ex hurt and betrayed you, how you were unloved and misunderstood in childhood, how you are terrified of being alone, how you hate your reflection in the mirror on certain days. You cry on his shoulder and wait for him to comfort you, save you, heal you. You show him your darkest, most wounded, most unattractive parts. You open your shadow to him without a filter. And you think that this is the highest, ultimate degree of intimacy and trust. But here, in this sacred space, there is a vast, critical difference between integrating your shadow and projecting it onto another. When a woman has integrated her shadow, she knows her wounds. She doesn't pretend they don't exist. She has done immense, difficult inner work. She doesn't suppress her pain, but neither is she its obedient slave. Her past has made her wiser, deeper, more compassionate, but it has not broken her. She can speak of her traumas, but she speaks of them as scars that testify to a battle won, not lost. She speaks from a position of strength, awareness, and acceptance. And this is incredibly, almost hypnotically attractive. It shows a man that before him is not a fragile, infantile girl, but a strong, deep woman who is not afraid of the darkness, neither her own nor anyone else's. But when you just dump your raw, unprocessed, bleeding pain onto him, you are doing something else entirely. You are unconsciously telling him, "Here is my wound. It hurts unbearably. Do something. Heal me. Save me. Fill this black hole inside me with your love, with your presence." You are making him responsible for your shadow, for your past, for your healing. You are turning him from a lover into a doctor, from a partner into a rescuer, from a man into a crutch. And again, on an invisible, archetypal level, a catastrophe occurs. Let us remember, he fell in love with the projection of his shining, bright anima. He saw in you light, mystery, magic, the promise of happiness. When you unleash upon him the entire unbearable weight of your unintegrated shadow, you don't just show him that you are a human being with flaws. You shatter his beautiful, fragile projection to pieces. The image of the shining goddess cannot withstand the collision with the image of the perpetually needy, wounded, crying victim. He might try to help, out of pity, out of a sense of duty, out of kindness. But pity is the number one killer of desire. A man cannot desire a woman he pities. His attraction fades because the thrilling man-woman dynamic is replaced by the exhausting doctor-patient or parent-fussy-child dynamic. He begins to feel incredibly drained. Your shadow, your pain, becomes a bottomless pit into which he throws his energy, his time, his love, but it never fills up. Because no one from the outside can heal your inner wound. Only you can do that for yourself. Moreover, your unintegrated shadow terrifies him on a deep, primal level. He has his own shadow, his own fears and demons that he diligently hides from the world and from himself. When he sees your shadow in such an undisguised, chaotic state, it resonates with his own darkness. He sees in your abyss a reflection of his own, and his instinctive reaction is to run from this pain, from this heaviness, from this responsibility that seems insurmountable. Your innocent desire to be completely open and vulnerable turns into an act of unconscious emotional vampirism. You seek intimacy, but you get distance. You seek love and acceptance, but you get exhaustion and ultimately his departure. He doesn't leave because he is bad or heartless. He leaves because he is instinctively saving himself. So what is to be done? Hide your shadow? Pretend to be perfect, always cheerful and carefree? No, that is the path to the second mistake, losing yourself. The true path to power lies in the solitary integration of your shadow. This means that you yourself, of your own free will, embark on the most important and most difficult journey of your life into your own depths. You yourself look your fears in the face without looking away. You yourself learn to heal your wounds through therapy, through spiritual practices, through self-reflection, through creativity. You yourself become the loving and wise parent to your own inner wounded child who was once unloved. And when you have done this sacred work, your shadow will cease to be your cruel master. It will become your ally, your advisor, the source of your incredible wisdom, intuition, and strength. And then you can share this with a man. But you will not be sharing as a victim begging for help, but as a queen telling the story of her lands, including the dark, dense forests and deep gorges. And he will listen not with pity, but with a captivated heart, with admiration. Admiration for your strength, your honesty, your incredible depth and wholeness. This is the genuine, magnetic vulnerability that creates true, unbreakable intimacy rather than destroying it. The vulnerability of a strong person, not a weak one. Stop making him responsible for your shadow. Take that sacred responsibility upon yourself. And you will become not the one who needs constant saving, but the one for whom men are willing to do anything. Because there is nothing more desirable and attractive than a woman who is not afraid of her own darkness. Because she has learned to turn it into light. So there they are. The three innocent horsemen of the apocalypse for a man's interest, becoming his caring mother, completely dissolving into him, and shifting the responsibility for your unhealed shadow onto him. And if you look closely, you will see that they all spring from the same bitter root, from the loss of your own center, from the renunciation of your wholeness, from the deep, unconscious belief that love must be earned, served, or suffered for, instead of simply being love. Perhaps in listening to this, you felt a pang of recognition, a slight chill in your chest. Perhaps you saw your past or present mistakes in these descriptions. Do not blame yourself. You did not know. You acted out of love, out of the best intentions, in the way this world, which itself understands little of the true nature of attraction, taught you. But now you know. Now you have a map of the invisible territories of the soul. And this map gives you the most precious thing a person can have: a choice. True, deep, lasting attraction is not born from seduction techniques or from a desperate desire to please. It is born from your own hard-won, reclaimed wholeness. When you stop being a rescuer and become a queen in your own sovereign kingdom. When you stop being his obedient echo and once again begin to sound with your own unique, divine melody. When you stop being a wounded girl looking for a daddy and become a woman who has known her shadow and turned it into her greatest strength. And then a miracle happens. You no longer need to think about how to keep his interest. You no longer need to analyze his every breath and every word. Your own existence, your energy, your depth, your self-sufficiency becomes such a powerful shining magnet that the question of his interest falls away on its own. To attract ceases to be an action. It becomes a property of your nature. A man who is ready for such depth, who is seeking a real woman and not just comfort, will stay by your side as if chained. The one who is not ready, who is only looking for a mommy or a convenient mirror, will leave. And that, too, will be a great blessing. Because a woman who has found her wholeness will never again settle for a relationship in which she has to be anything less than who she truly is. The love you so desperately seek will not be found in his eyes. It will be found in your own. And when you find it there, when you love and accept yourself completely, with all your light and all your darkness, the entire world, including him, will see that divine radiance. Which of these three paths to losing interest resonated with you the most? In which of these innocent traps did you recognize yourself? Share your realization, your feeling, in the comments. If this video gave you food for thought, if it shed light on something important, write the keyword clarity below, and I will know that this message has reached its destination and found its soul. Share this video with a woman, a friend, a sister who you feel needs to hear this right now. Perhaps it will help her avoid pain or find the answer to her most agonizing question. And of course, subscribe to this channel if you wish to continue diving into these deep, transformative, and sometimes uncomfortable truths. We don't talk about the superficial here. We talk about what truly changes lives. Because an awakened woman, a woman who has reclaimed her wholeness, changes not only her own destiny, she changes the very world around her. She becomes a light